Let's talk about SNAP, aka food stamps. First of all, I don't think a lot of people realize that food stamps and SNAP are the same thing. SNAP is the newer name of the program. It used to be called food stamps. Now it's called SNAP. I don't think a lot of people realize the average person who is on these benefits, they work. Medicaid, same thing. Most of them work. It's either children, elderly, or working adults, the majority of the people. So, there's all these preconceived notions. There's this idea that illegal immigrants are somehow getting benefits. You can't even apply if you're not legal. So that's not true. And I'm going to show in a moment the statistics of who receives benefits and where. That's really interesting. Okay, I want you to look at this. SNAP recipients represent different races and or ethnicities. White, about 37% of the SNAP recipients are white. African American, 26%. Hispanic, only 16%. Asian, 3%. And Native American, about 2%. And then, it says SNAP targets those in the greatest need. Among those participating in the program, most are children, elderly persons, or individuals with a disability. In fact, 86% of all SNAP benefits go to households that include a child, elderly person, or person with disabilities. In addition, about 92% of all SNAP benefits go to households with income at or below the poverty line. Now we can look at it by state. You can pause to look at this chart, but I'm seeing a pattern here in some of the states, like New Mexico, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Oregon. You guys have a lot of people needing assistance. It's interesting. So here's a little chart to explain it. The light blue is children younger than 5. So 11.1% of SNAP participants were children under age 5. 19.5% is adults age 60 and older. So that would be our older communities. And then you see children ages 5 to 17 make up 27.7%. So when you look at this, more than half is going to children and the elderly community. So for the people that are like cheering for this to be canceled and that, they're like, oh, maybe everybody's gonna have to go work now. You're completely ignorant. You're taking food from children, elderly, disabled. It's insane. It's insane that people are happy about this. People always want to make nasty comments about people that are on the system. In fiscal year 2024, an average of 41.7 million people participated in the SNAP program, which is about 12.3% of the population. Instead of asking yourself, why do people need help? Why don't you ask yourself why companies aren't paying enough? Because most of these people are working. The adults that are getting it are either working or elderly or disabled. So there's a huge problem here. Again, most people don't know this, but the largest 2 employers in the United States, Walmart and McDonald's, they have a large number of their employees on public assistance because they pay such low wages that they qualify. So we subsidize their benefits because they don't feel like paying people because their CEO needs $60 million a year. Why doesn't that make people angry? Majority of Americans on SNAP do work, with over half of non-disabled, non-elderly SNAP participants working in a given month. Studies show that 85% of SNAP families have at least one working member in a 12-month period, and 74% of non-disabled adults work at least once in the year before or after the month they received SNAP. Many work low-wage jobs where SNAP helps bridge the gap between their income and basic needs. Over half of non-disabled, non-elderly adults in SNAP are working in a typical month. 85% of SNAP families have at least one working member within a 12-month period. So all these people are about to struggle, and even more than they already do, they're going to go hungry. I want to think about something too here. Walmart is the largest grocer in America. Do you know how much food they throw away every day, every year? Every day, every week, every month, every year. They throw away literal tons of food, and they make their employees, take it out to the dumpster They're not allowed to take it home, or they will be fired and charged with theft. But they don't pay them enough to live, and they need to rely on the government, and now they can't rely on the government. Do you think Walmart's going to come through and like take care of their employees? What's your guess? I'm going to guess probably not. Yeah, and then let's talk about how they're trying to make SNAP even harder to get. They're trying to have really rigorous criteria, like you have to check in all your hours that you work. There's a whole bunch of stuff. They're making it basically a bunch of paperwork and hoops you have to jump through. Every 6 months, you have to recertify where you live and your job and everything. If you don't, you lose your benefits. So they're making it really easy. They're trying, their plans, this big, beautiful bill, include giant cuts to these programs. They want less people on these programs. Wages are not going up, and the cost of living is skyrocketing. Many states have made it illegal to be homeless. Where are we going here? Where are we going here? And then let's talk about Medicaid. They're trying to cut a bunch of Medicaid benefits too. Children, elderly rely on Medicaid. Disabled veterans. Oh, that's another thing with SNAP real quick. If you are disabled or homeless, that used to be an exception. Like, you know, if you're disabled or homeless, you don't have to like try to work to get benefits, right? They're changing that. So, you know, our homeless veterans, our homeless people, our mentally ill people, they're going to struggle. All right, anyway, let's talk about Medicaid. Approximately 16.6 million adults on Medicaid work either full-time or part-time. This accounts for 64% of the total Medicaid adult population, excluding those receiving SSI or SSDI. The remaining non-working individuals are not on Medicaid due to reasons that often qualify for exemptions from work requirements such as caregiving, illness, or disability. 64% of the 26.1 million adult Medicaid recipients, excluding those with SS and SSDI, work either full-time or part-time. And then over here, we can see if they're not working, the remaining 36% of this population is not working because of caregiving responsibilities, illness or disability, school attendance, or other reasons like retirement or inability. 36 to 37 million children are enrolled in Medicaid or CHIP, the Children's Health Insurance Program. Again, these are the same program. A lot of people, I don't think, realize that. And children make up around 48% of the total Medicaid CHIP enrollment. While these figures can vary depending on the exact data source, children constitute the largest single demographic group in the program. So these programs being cut, this is who is going to be hurt. Like, there's this preconceived notion that this is just, you know, lazy adults that get these things. And that's simply not true. And our most vulnerable people are being left out in the cold without food. In the richest country in the world, where they're building a $200 and something million ballroom right now. They're building a ballroom, a golden ballroom, while children, adults, and the elderly are not going to have food next month. What are we even paying taxes for at this point? Anybody? What are we paying for? They're not doing anything that helps people, that, you know, Americans. We just gave, Argentina $40 billion during the government is shut down. I have to go to a food bank tomorrow because my husband hasn't been paid in several weeks. What the fuck are we actually doing?